Happy July. It's a beautiful stormy day. Everett is actually mowing the lawn today by himself. And he's very proud of himself, and as he should be. This is a big, big lawn to mow. Good job. So I'm paying him $10 to do this. He's done a great job. So he's been working on that while I've been mowing or weeding the flower beds. And we'll look at those in a minute. First we'll go over here so we can hear better. We've planted some Jerusalem artichokes here, and some sunflowers are also coming up. So they're really similar to each other. They're related. This one is Jerusalem artichoke. It's a little bit longer, slenderer leaves. Both are a little fuzzy, kind of stickery a little bit. They don't poke into your skin, but they're kind of rough. And this one with the serrated leaves is the black oil sunflower. And most of the sunflowers look pretty similar to each other. There's a slightly different variety there. All these have just come up from seed, but you can kind of tell by the color of the stalk that they're a little bit different. Might be more of a red or orange flower instead of the yellow ones. But if you haven't tried growing Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes, they're really a lot of fun. They're really pretty, and they have edible roots, which I love. Laura Jean doesn't really like them, but I love them. The kitties are getting big. Well, before we head out to the garden, just wanted to show how this tree is doing. This is our main source of apples, our big old tree that's always been on the property since we've been here. It's got lots of fruit on it, getting pretty big. Oh no, it'll just be bitter.
I like the feeling of bitter.
You do?
Yeah, it like tightens your mouth. I like it.
You can have one if you want then. That's funny. Okay, let's see. Pretty hard. Too bitter?
Actually has some sweetness already.
Really? This poor tree has some kind of disease, has blight. Well, I hope it's not blight, but I suspect that that's what it is. I had to cut off a really big, well, I hope not. I had to cut off a really big branch here that used to be hanging over quite a ways, about over to wherever it is. It was all pretty bad. And I didn't cut it back, probably as far as I should have. I don't know, it remains to be seen. We've been gone for a couple weeks now, so nobody was, really watching the progress of the tree. And we come back and it hasn't spread, so it makes me think it's not blight, but it's pretty devastating to the branches that it has affected. But I think we'll just wait and see. Since it's not spreading anymore, we'll just hope for the best. There is stuff we can add to it. We can feed the tree to kill the blight, if it is that, but it'll also render all of the apples this year totally unusable. They'll be poisonous to us. So I hope to avoid that. Over here, in the first year or two that we lived here, we had our garden spot over here, which is hard to...
Crab apple.
Like a crab apple. It's hard to believe, looking at this, that there used to be a plowed garden here. The grass just comes back so quickly. Just, you have a garden and the grass is under control, then winter comes, and then the spring, the grass pops up again. Doesn't matter what you've done to it. Sorry, kitty, he just stepped on my foot and I stepped away just as he was doing that. This tree is an apricot, and it's died several times, or died back several times and come back again. These are mulberries. I think they're mulberries. Well, I could be. I think they are. Another apricot, similar story. This just is kind of a halfway forgotten part of our yard now that we've moved the garden back away from the road. Not like it's a busy road, it's just fun to have it closer to the house, just easier. It's an apple tree that we planted amongst our corn a couple years ago when it was out here. And it's doing fine, all on its own. It's gonna be one of those kind of wild apple trees, homestead style apple tree. This thing has a disease as well, actually has borers. And we thought for sure we would lose it, but again, we came back after 2 weeks vacation, and the parts that were affected are now dead, and the parts that weren't affected are just fine. Although we just had some 60-mile-an-hour gusts of wind come through today, and yeah, well, that's too bad. It was weakened enough down there that it lost a pretty big branch. So I know it's interesting. Problems occur with plants and with animals, and spear, I guess, here. And when you've kind of sworn off chemicals for the most part, kind of just have to let things take their course and see what happens. And we've been pretty lucky, I think. These are more Jerusalem artichokes, which I planted in what used to be the aisle between rows, and we filled it with pretty deep amount of wood chips. And since it's been a couple years, it's actually pretty wet and black underneath the surface here, which the smell is amazing. But it has proven to be a pretty good growing medium for those guys. So this is just kind of an experimental thing. There's some 4-season lettuce that's come up on its own. I'm sure it's crossed naturally with this wild blue lettuce, so it's probably going to yield something a little bit bitter. I haven't tasted it yet, but it's kind of interesting that that's coming up on its own. Horseradish, as always, doing great. Almost nothing we can do to do wrong on that. Some new raspberries in this other experimental area here. We had some straw bales here last year, actually pretty densely spaced, and it was not successful at all. But we decided to spread it out and see how it goes. Obviously, grass has taken over here, as it does everywhere on our property. But again, just trying to experiment with different ways of growing things. Oh, look at this. I thought it was dead. This is our, it's a squash, zucchini. This is beautiful dirt. Nice and moist. Just straw. That's all it is. Just placed right on top of the dirt. And I'm sure that some of this is oat grass coming from the straw, but most of it's just this horrible grass with these awful roots. Pull some out and show you. Well, actually, that doesn't look so bad, but it doesn't really give you an accurate glimpse of, well, here we go. See how sharp that is? It's not focusing, but it's actually quite hard, and if I were to push hard enough, it would go right into my finger. It's quite hard on the end. This is one of the grass roots. So these things have, yeah, you okay?
What are they?
Grass roots. And these things just spread under the, just a minute. These things spread under the dirt, and then they just decide to all pop up all at once and take over everything.
Oh, it's raining.
Check this out. Cat is on my shoulders. And there's obviously a water drop or something on the camera lens. Everett finished, so I'm gonna pay him his money. And it,
The money's getting wet.
and so are we, and so is the camera. Quickly, quickly show the rest of the garden if I can. Maybe. Wow, it's really raining.
So we have some onions and walking onions and strawberries, which are doing really well.
Woo! Oh my goodness.
And then spaghetti, squash, and squash. And more squash and squash. Broccoli, spinach, more squash and squash. And that's it. And trees.
Wow. We are getting soaked. Really, really, really soaked. Okay, I think I've got my hand over the camera,
And
but
weeds.
and weeds. Actually,
And now
most of our weeds right now are actually squash. They've come up from
our
throwing
waste.
throwing
Our
squash seeds out here.
squash seeds out here. Rotten squash.
It's fun having a big garden. This year we've also grown some trees from seed. These are Russian olives, onions there, Russian olives and maple, various apples, and another Russian olive. Wait, that's a dead leaf. Oh, these are Russian olives. Crab apple that we found on the property elsewhere. And we planted a few of them, like that one there. Wow, my camera is really, really wet. And should we go in? Wow, love it. Whew. And into the house. Yeah, Everett, would you mind picking up that stuff? I don't know why that's on the floor. Thanks, buddy.
Hi, Everett. I'm making food now.
What are you making?
Yay.
You know, like creative brain dogs, because he said, mine's the hardest, and I said, no, it's not. Food is the hardest.
So you're making dinner?
I want to cook, and I said, oh, that sounds like a great trade.
That's awesome. So you're sweeping the
What is Alex
dining room.
making?
Whenever I lean over, that's when my bone hurts. My tailbone is like bruised.
Hmm.
Hey, let's see about my-
And then it got worse. And every time I sit down or lean over, that happens.
What are you
I'm gonna
making
wash my
for
feet
dinner?
before I get married.
I don't know. Mom told me the ingredients. I guess.
No, we already did, and we
Look at this.
didn't like it.
Me and Everett got rained on. But you look like you've got rained on. But you didn't, huh?
Natural.
It's just dyed that way. It's
I
awesome.
even, like, got my shirt wet on purpose and it didn't make a difference. The only difference, it made me feel wet.
Really? Just to document that nothing really has changed in here for a long time because I've been focusing so much on my art, and that has paid off. But got a lot of projects getting ready to be done. This has become like the official place to put paintings as we're considering where to send them, what to do with them. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Well, the rain has calmed down. It's a perfect time to go outside. So I've been slowly working on the sidewalk, just sort of an ongoing project. Look at this. This is a part of our lives that we're very proud of right now. It's just so pretty. It's so lush. Bachelor's buttons with blue and purple things, and chamomile, or as we like to say sometimes, chamomile. Hollyhocks. Totally edible. Emmy is always out here eating hollyhock leaves. It's cute. It's just so much fun See the explosion of flowers out here at this time of year. And these things are annuals, both the bachelor's buttons and the chamomile. Well, and the sunflowers, and also the hollyhocks. They're all annuals, or biennials for the hollyhocks, but they reseed so well. So they bloom continuously through the season, the way the annuals do, but they also reseed and spread in a very wild way if you let them. Actually, they're really easy to kill if you want to, like to pull up. They don't have super deep roots, so I think they're the perfect thing to let naturalize an area. So we just, as I said, did some weeding, and so we see a lot of weeds doing their job as mulch, a new job as mulch. This one isn't quite as tame over here. It's mostly just sunflowers. We've got some, actually quite a huge oregano patch there. This is pretty, this lamb's ear. And, oh, where's that thing that was in bloom just a little while ago? This is wild catmint. Smells amazing, looks awesome too. I can't remember. I thought it was right there. But there was this awesome weed in there that had beautiful blue flowers. And it, oh, you can see just a tiny sprig of it. Well, that's not it, is it? Anyway, I can't find it now, but when a weed pops up and it's pretty, I figure you might as well keep it. And it's raining hard again. So I will say goodbye for now. I hope to make progress on the house this year.